Muted.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tara Barnes-Darby, the Director of Conferences here at NMAC. The conferences manager, Allison McKeithen, will be conducting the abstract tutorial. Thank you so much for joining us today for our second go-around with the webinar. Some of you were present at our first attempt, and we apologize for the previous technical difficulties, and trust that we've gotten all of those out of our system. I wanted to start by giving a brief overall introduction to this year's conference focus before passing the baton to Allison. So let's start with the USCA theme and focus. This year, we decided to add trauma-informed care as the conference theme. While we're in Orlando, we're going to be acknowledging the trauma experienced by the local community as a result of the Pulse tragedy. But we also want to broaden that focus to acknowledge the trauma that a lot of us experience every day. As a person living with HIV, as a person of color, as a person who's experienced abuse, and others who've experienced all types of oppression. The list can go on, and I'm sure you all can recognize that. But especially now with this new reality of violence plaguing our schools and communities. But in the context of USCA, our goal is to bring light to the fact that the care that providers give to affected consumers has to be seen through this trauma-informed lens, so that ultimately we address the issues that will allow people to stay in care and achieve the best outcomes. At USCA, we're doing this in a couple of ways. The opening plenary session will address the topic, and we've also had trauma-informed care as one of the new conference tracks for this year. So for this track, we're looking for abstracts that address how we can best equip providers with the tools to provide better care, as well as abstracts focused on dealing with the traumatic issues that will help keep people retained in care. You'll find descriptions for all of the conference tracks on the USCA website. So without further ado, I'll pass it on to Allison so that we can start the abstract tutorial. Allison?
Thank you, Tara. Thank you for doing an introduction. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being on the webinar today. Hopefully, you'll all get some great information. But before we proceed, let's do a quick poll just to see where everyone is, so we can get just kind of like a gauge of where everyone's knowledge is as far as like submitting an abstract. So the question is, have you ever submitted an abstract to USCA? You can respond by saying, yes, it was accepted, yes, it was not accepted, or no. So just take a quick moment and respond. Can't wait to see what everyone's answer is. Just a few more seconds, and then we'll look at the results. All right, so it's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's see where everyone is. Wow, great. So a lot of people have not submitted an abstract to USCA before, so this will be a great tutorial for you. And hopefully for those who have applied before, hopefully you'll get some new tips and a better understanding of our process. So let's move forward. So let's talk about our tracks. So USCA, we have 8 tracks this year. You can see them listed here: the biomedical HIV prevention track, the gay men track, leadership, people living with HIV, public policy, and women. And new for USCA this year, we added 2 tracks, one that Tara just hit on, which is the trauma-informed care track, and the opioid epidemic track. And these track descriptions can be found on our website, which is www.2018usca.org/abstracts. And if you have any questions about them, you can ask us at conferences@nmac.org. But what you want to do is you want to go to that website, you want to read through those abstracts, those track descriptions, and really get a better sense of how you frame your abstract that you'll submit. Because these are the topics that we're using to frame the education of the conference. And these are the tracks that we are accepting and reviewing abstracts for. So it's very important that you have a great understanding of what we're looking for, what the description is, and what the objectives are. And it's important to mention that these tracks are not the only topics that are going to be covered at the conference. These are only the ones that we are accepting abstracts for and reviewing abstracts for. We have a number of other ways that we're going to be presenting information, which is through our institutes and through our pathways. So if you're just trying to get more information about what we're educating people about this year, this is not the only information that we're giving out at USCA. We're going to cover more information just in different ways. But this is our abstract review process. So now let's get into how to submit an abstract. First thing you need to do is visit our website, 2018usca.org. That is the hub of all of our USCA information, and this is where our abstract submission system is. And let's just remember that the submission deadline is April 6, 2018. April 6, 2018. Again, April 6, 2018. I want you to remember this date because we do not accept abstracts after this date. There's not too much more time after this, but hopefully after this review process, you'll get right in here, you'll create your accounts, and you'll get to working on your abstracts, okay? So let's go ahead and go to our website. Once you're in there, you'll see the various tabs at the top. The abstract tab is where you'll want to click on to, and it shows this page right in front of you, which has all the information about our call for abstracts and our submit an abstract button. So what you would do is click on that button and you'll get to the next page. This is now inside of our abstract submission system. And on this page, you'll notice that there are 3 steps, but we're going to zoom in so we can see what those steps are a little better. The first step is to insert your primary presenter information. This person could be you, or it could be someone else. Hopefully it's you. You want to make sure you enter in your information, complete all of the required fields, and then you can click submit. The second step is to enter in your co-presenter information. Might be someone who wrote the abstract with you or someone who may present with you. And the third step is really all the information that's going to be reviewed, which is your session information. Okay, so now let's go back to our main page. There are 2 things that are really important on this page. The first part is the email address. Now this email address is where we're going to send all of your confirmation information. We're going to send you an email saying that we acknowledge that you created an account to submit an abstract. So you really want to make sure that you use an email address that you check regularly, that always receives emails, so that if we do send you communications, you're able to receive it in a timely manner. So please make sure you give us a really good email address. And once you put in an email address, you can click submit. And it takes you right into the primary presenter information page. So we're gonna do some kind of trial information here. So what you see is someone who's filling out the abstract submission form. First, you'll see the information required marked by a red asterisk. So we have the first name, last name, they have the email that you just put in verified. There's a lot of information that we require, and it's all very important to make sure that we have this information so we can reach out to you if there are any questions about your abstract, if we have any kind of issues with your abstract whatsoever. So please make sure you complete all that information. And so for our example, you see here we have Mr. Barry Obama. He's presenting an abstract for the Presidential Retirement Company. And before he finished, you may notice something new down here under the email address. We're now asking that you submit a bio, resume, or CV. And we ask this for a number of reasons. One reason is so that the reviewers are able to get more information about you and what your expertise is. And also, if accepted, it helps us expedite our CEU process. But of course, since it's Barry Obama, he doesn't really need to upload a resume. We all know who he is, so he just put a lovely picture of himself there. So the next part of the primary presenter information, we continue on, and you put in your demographic information. And while this information is not required, it is really good information for us to have so we know a lot more about who you are, the population that you represent, and it's just sometimes really good statistical information just to know who our presenters are. And then once you put in that information, you can click Save. And this will take you to the dashboard. On this dashboard, you'll see that step 1 has been completed, and Barry Obama's name is right there. So we know his information is saved. And then you can go into the co-presenter information. Co-presenter information, similarly to the primary presenter information, has a few fields that are required. Most of it is basic communication information, such as your name, your email, your address, and so on. So you see, Uncle Joey the Man Biden decides to co-present with Barry, and he puts all of his information in here, and he clicks Save. And so when you enter your co-presenter information, you can enter in a number of co-presenters. If you see Michelle Robinson Obama is already there, but what you may not notice immediately is that there is a red asterisk beside Joey O'Biden. In case you didn't look carefully on that previous page, you'll notice that we didn't put any address information in for Joey O'Biden. I said Joey O'Biden. Joey Biden, excuse me. So we didn't put any information in for Joey Biden, and that's indicated by the red asterisk. And so before we can click Submit, we should definitely go back and make sure that we enter in all of that required information in order to move forward. So let's go on to the next step. Now we get into the very, very meat of the abstract submission process. Okay, this is our step 3. First part of completing your abstract process is to select your presentation type. And there are 2 presentation types that you can select from. The workshop, which is a 2-hour formal presentation, and if selected, you'll be responsible for presenting your abstract topic for the entire 2-hour time period, or you can present a poster presentation. And we provide 2 time slots during the conference when poster presenters are able to present for a time period of 30 minutes. And posters are a 4-foot by 8-foot space of a standing board that we provide to you, but it's your responsibility to create the poster and to post it at the conference in time for your presentation, and then dismantling your poster after your second presentation has been finished. The next portion is your presentation title. Your presentation title is limited to 10 words. Be sure to choose a title that accurately describes the workshop and it's clear and grabs attention. So let's just do a sample abstract so we can kind of get a better understanding of what clear and attention grabbing means. So you'll see under the header presentation title an example called Throw Away Your Recycled Grant Application, Strategies for Writing Successful Grants. First thing you want to see, throw away your recycled grant application. Kind of riveting, kind of catches your eye. You're like, what? But I've been using this for forever. Why would I do that? Oh, because he's giving me strategies for writing successful grants. It meets the 10-word requirement. It's captivating, it's exciting, and it's accurate. So this abstract is about strategies for writing successful grants. This is a great example that you can kind of use the energy from to create your own presentation title. The next portion is the presentation level. You can select from beginner, intermediate, or advanced. And you should make this determination based on what audience you feel it is most appropriate for. This could be anything from a beginner, not needing much experience, up to an advanced person who may have many years experience in that particular topic area. Next is the presentation format. And we offer two formats to you to present your abstract in. There's format 1 concerning a specific program, project, or study, or format 2 addressing a broader issue, area, problem, or community need. So let's just dive a little deeper into the different abstract formats. Format 1 for abstracts concerning a specific program, project, or study is best used if you're using a topic that is very research heavy, or for a poster presentation. It just lends itself better to presenting that information. You are limited to 150-word description, workshop description. You would have to list your methods, your results, and then your conclusion. So you have the description for what the methods, results, and conclusions should be. And hopefully that'll help frame whether or not, and help you make the decision whether or not format 1 will fit what you want to present best. Then format 2 is for abstracts addressing a broader issue, area, problem, or community need. Again, your description is limited to 150 words, and then you'll also have to complete the issues, which is specific issues or problems, learning objectives. Then the fourth portion is the strategies, methods, models, and examples. So we're going to go through that just so you have a better idea of what each of those different step 1, 2, 3, 4 there, how it translates into your abstract. Okay, we're going to go back to our sample successful writing, grant writing abstract. Okay, so this is going back to the form. So right now we're in the form in the abstract submission system, and this is what it looks like. This is what you'll see. You'll see an empty box asking you to submit your workshop description. So here's an example of the information that you want to put into that particular box, okay? So I'll give everyone a moment just to kind of read that example. And until you finish, let me just go over kind of like the basics of the workshop description. As I stated previously, you have a 150-word limit. You want to make sure that your topic is clearly explained. You don't need to over-elaborate. Keep it interesting and relevant. Consider it as the advertisement for your abstract. And also consider that this is what attendees will read to get information about your presentation. So you want to make sure that they get the best representation of your workshop as possible. Keep it very clear. So in this example, he starts off with last year's release of the CDC's high impact prevention strategy changed the landscape for nonprofit agencies, typically funded by CDC or Department of Health grants. Very clear where he's coming from. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, but he mentions, are Debbie's gone? Where will staff be required to do more? Will staff be required to do more with less? How should agencies focus their grant proposals in the coming years to best serve their communities? Very, very clear. He's giving you information about what kind of questions can be asked, maybe questions you've even asked yourself, and let you know that these things are going to be addressed in his presentation. So there you can see in that example, he was able to capture the essence of his workshop in under 150 words, so it's doable, and kept it very clear, didn't have to over elaborate, and it really gives people kind of like, it piques their interest, and it really gives you something to look forward to. So next, we have methods and issues. For the methods and issues portion, there is no word limit. You want to keep it relevant to your topic. You want to explain why this is relevant. And you also want to answer the question, what is the issue you are addressing? So in this example, you can read through the full text. There are a few things I want to point out to say, like, these are things that this person wrote that really hit home. So I'm going down to the end of the paragraph, and I'm going to start with the sentence that says, through this workshop, though this workshop is open to grant writers of any experience level, most of the activities will presume intermediate grant writing experience or higher, and strategies will be aimed at winning medium to large multi-year grants. So it does two things for the people who are reviewing it. First, you'll see that I highlighted activities in red and italicized it. So it says most of the activities. This example lets us know that they're going to be activities. It's interactive. So the attendees are not just sitting there listening to someone speak at them. They're actually going to listen to something, and they're going to take that information and do an activity. They're going to implement it while they're there in their workshop. And then it also lends itself to let us know who they're targeting. They're targeting people who are primarily on an intermediate or advanced level, because they're intermediate grant writing or experience or higher level. So even though someone who of lower level can come, it'll probably be more highly impactful to someone who's on a higher level. And that's just how you can express yourself when you write out your methods or issues, so that the reviewer knows that you have a great grasp on the information that you're going to present in your workshop. Let's keep moving. Hold on, I think we have a little delay in this slide. So now we're going to do our results and learning objectives. And then we'll cover our conclusions, strategies, methods, models, and examples. So for our learning objectives and results, again, no word limit. And what you want to respond to is, what skills would you like the attendees of your workshop to have by the end? So for our example, for strategies for writing successful grants, he wrote, by the end of the session, participants will be able to, 1, list high impact preventions, prioritize strategies. 2, describe changes needed at one's agency to meet the new goals of test and treat and scalable interventions. And 3, update epi-data models, proofs, and program plans for the skeptical eye framework. So you can see, and I'm not going to read the next one, but what you see here is very clearly objectives were defined. And this is in context of what the attendee will learn, what they will take away from it. So you want to make sure you frame your description, what you write in terms of what the participants and the attendees of your session will get from it. And then the final part is the conclusions or strategies. There's no word limit. You write out how you plan to educate your attendees. What is the plan for them to actually meet the objectives you previously mentioned? And what is your strategy? So in the example, and I'll let you read through it, he mentions that this is a hands-on session that will invite participants to review and critique a wide range of actual grant narrative samples. Right away, you see exactly how he's educating them. He's giving them real-life examples. He's letting them read. They're going to critique. They're going to probably fix it and go back through. So real skills are going to be built inside of that workshop. Make sure that you communicate what people are going to learn and how you intend to educate them in this particular section. So after you write your 4 major portions of your abstract, next there's, and you'll see circled in red, abstract supporting documents. And this portion we added so that if there's any graphs or graphics that will help support your abstract and enhance your abstract submission, we encourage you to upload them. But this should not be used in lieu of completing the four aforementioned areas. You still have to complete the information there. So please do not use this as an opportunity to not complete those areas. You cannot just submit your abstract as a Word document into the abstract supporting documents field. So we ask that you actually put that information into those various sections that are listed there for you to do, okay? And then finally, what you'll see is, have you presented this topic at any other conference? Click yes or no. If yes, then we'll ask you what conference and when. And then you can click save. And it takes you back to the dashboard. So now you see your title up there beside session 1, throw away your recycled grant application strategies for winning successful grants. You see your primary presenter's name, Barry Obama, who should probably be you. You see Joe Biden with no asterisk beside his name now because we added that information. You see Michelle Robinson Obama listed. They are ready to go. There's no asterisk beside their step 3 because they completed all their session information. And at this time, what you'll notice from previous screens on the dashboard, the submit button has now darkened. This means you can actually and officially submit. If the button is not darkened, you want to look and make sure that there are no red asterisks there. If there's a red asterisk, you need to complete that before you're actually able to submit, okay? So now we're going to click submit. Great. So you have submitted an abstract, but let's do a quick poll, everybody. What is the abstract submission deadline? You have 4 responses. It could be April 1st, April 6th, April 15th, or April 20th. What is the abstract submission deadline? Because you just submitted an abstract that you're about to, when we finish this, you're going to go out on your own and you're going to have to write this abstract. I just want to make sure you all know when it's due. All right, give you another few seconds to think about it. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's see the results. April 6th, you were listening. Oh, and those souls who put April 15th and 20th. Okay, yeah, I heard those are rogue staff members. So apparently our attendees are listening and paying attention. Thank you so much for responding to our poll. You know we have to have this submitted, and I look forward to working through the process to have your abstracts reviewed. So let's keep moving forward. So now, again, submission deadlines April 6th. Now that your abstracts have been submitted, I'm sure you're wondering, what happens now? So your abstracts go into the review process. From April 9th through May 24th, they will be with the abstract review committee. So I'm sure you're wondering, who serves on the track review committee? Who are these people? Why do they get to review my abstract? Well, let's go through who they are. First group is our program partners. Our program partners are a various number of organizations well known throughout the HIV/AIDS community. Some of those names hopefully you've seen before or know, or maybe even work for them. And these are our partners, and they help us review your abstracts. They have top subject matter experts there, and we act them to serve. Next, we have our USCA host committee members. Our host committee is filled with knowledgeable people in the Orlando area, and we look forward to their expertise in helping select our abstracts for this year. And then finally, we have a new review group at NMAC, which is our constituent advisory panel. And you may have seen a few emails come from NMAC talking about our constituent advisory panel. And this group of our constituents are going to review the abstracts as well and make sure that we cover all the different populations and topics underneath those tracks, and ensure that we're being fair and equitable in our knowledge and our sharing. So we have a wide range of people who are going to be reviewing these abstracts to make sure our program is robust. So how are abstracts scored? There's a few things that we look for. First, we ask, is it interactive? And then we have a series of questions. One is a yes or no question. Then we ask 5 scaled questions, which can be scored between 1 to 4, to give you a maximum score of 20. So the questions are, first is our yes or no question. Does the abstract indicate the session is interactive? How closely does the abstract reflect the track's description and objectives? And that's a scalable question. Next, how relevant or appropriate is the abstract topic? How cutting edge is the topic? How essential is the topic? And how would you rate the overall clarity of this abstract? So each of those people who represent the review committee are answering these questions about your abstract. So when you write your abstract, make sure they can give you the highest score. Make sure that you explain what's relevant or appropriate about your abstract, how cutting edge it is. Make sure the information you provide is cutting edge information. Make sure you also give information about how it's essential. So now you have the behind the scenes knowledge of how your abstract will be reviewed, okay? So now, once it's reviewed, the program review committee comes together. They talk about your scores, and they make sure that they select those abstracts that are gonna be most critical to the education of the attendees. So here I wrote the committee reviews to ensure the curriculum for the track is robust and that a wide variety of topics and demographics within the track are represented. So let's go over a few tips for success. So we've gone through the process, and hopefully you've picked up a few tips, and hopefully that the sample abstract that we went through also kind of gives you a real life feel of what that looks like when you write your abstract. But here are just a few more tips so you can write the best abstract and have the best level of success possible. First, select a clear topic or focus. Make sure your topic aligns with the track's goals and objectives. This is very important. Selecting the proper track is critical to the acceptance of your abstract. Don't try to force your abstract to go onto a particular track if it does not meet the goals or objectives of that track. Write your abstract before you put it in the abstract system. Just write it out in Word, see how it looks, make sure you review it a number of times, print it out, and so forth. Be sure to spell check and proofread. Be sure to spell check and proofread before you click submit. Very, very important. Next, fully write out your acronyms before you use them. Our community has a ton of acronyms. and some of them are newly made and newly used, and your reviewers may not understand them or know them. So don't assume that they know what your acronym means. Please write them out so they're fully informed about what your acronym means. Eliminate ambiguous language. Keep to the topic. When writing objectives, keep them to what you want the attendee to learn from attending your workshop or poster session. And I also want to mention that a lot of the abstracts that are reviewed are really great abstracts. A lot of times they're not poorly written, a lot of times they're not badly written, but sometimes you just get a lot of topics, a lot of great information, and the conference only has so many slots that they can fill. So I just want you to know that you could write a very beautiful abstract. It could get a very high score and a lot of praise. But unfortunately, we're not able to accept every abstract. Decisions have to be made, and sometimes it has not gone in everyone's favor. But it doesn't mean you didn't write a great abstract. So now, to let you know, you will be notified of your abstract success after May 25th. Again, so our important deadlines. 1, the abstract submission deadline is April 6th. And then next, your decision will be sent to you after May 25th. So I've given you a lot of information, and I want to open it up to you. So do you have any questions? So first, let me say you can add the questions into your chat function. And if you happen to have questions, that chat function is located to the right of your presentation. It'll be a little call out. So you can click in there and put your questions.
All right. Thanks, Allison, for that great tutorial. Okay, let's see. We received a couple of questions. Can people submit more than one abstract poster or workshop? Yes, you may submit as many abstracts as you like. Okay. Next question. Yeah, Teresa, that's a great suggestion. It is a great suggestion to actually construct your abstract in a Word document before actually going through the submit process. So Teresa Sullivan mentioned that one of her own strategies is always to work in a Word document first before answering the questions in the grant workshop submissions. I would say, and I'd add to that, you should do that first before you're ready to actually go into the actual submission portal. It makes for an easier process of just copying and pasting. Will the scoring be provided? We actually do not provide the scoring in the notification that we send to you. But if you could always ask us later if the specific reviewers had any comments for your particular abstract. But generally, we don't send that with the notifications. Okay. I'm a researcher, and I'm not sure if my topic will be suitable for this conference. I will, we do have abstracts. We do have some data-driven sessions at USCA. While it's not a CROI or a medical conference, if there's a track that addresses the topic, I would definitely submit it. We're getting a more diverse audience, and we're getting more medical providers. So you can always send it to conferences@nmac.org if you have a question about it before you submit. Okay. Thank you for this information. Yes. I think that someone had a similar, I'm sorry, I'm just reading to myself. Thank you for this information. Will they ask us to know why their abstract wasn't chosen in case they want to submit it to another conference? If after you receive your abstract notification saying that it was denied, you can request additional information. As I mentioned earlier, we don't include that in the initial notification, but we can provide that information by going back to the reviewers. How many workshops will be in each track? On average, there are about 7 to 9 workshops per track. Okay. What if you had not secured a co-presenter at the time of the submission but intend on having one? That's fine. The co-presenter information that Allison had gone over is not required. Those aren't required fields. So after you receive a notification that your abstract was submitted, there'll be an opportunity to add co-presenter information at that time. You don't have to have it to submit the abstract. Okay. What if co-presenters change after the submission? The same. You'll have an opportunity to edit or add any co-presenters. Okay. I have a presenter from out of state as a co-presenter. Will their travel be covered and login be covered? I'm thinking that. I don't know. Okay, so for each accepted workshop, we provide one complimentary registration. So all other co-presenters would have to register and pay for the conference. Okay. How will I be notified? We will send an email to the primary author that submitted the abstract, notifying them whether the abstract was accepted or denied. So we will send it to the primary author. We won't send it to the co-author. Okay? Okay, so I think I understand. Someone was clarifying, will lodging be covered? No, we do not provide lodging. Okay. Do you have to register for the conference? Yes. You do. And if as I mentioned, if your session was accepted, we will provide one complimentary registration, and we'll give you information on how to register and to use that complimentary registration. Okay? Are there any other questions? All right. Well, this concludes our session. Thanks so much for joining us. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email us directly at conferences@inmac.org.
Okay, and we're going to have polls and an evaluation after this webinar ends. So feel free to answer those polls and please complete the evaluation as well. And this webinar will be posted at the 2018 USCA.org website and on the inmac.org website. So you can find this webinar posted at both sites. Thank you so much and have a great day.